Okay. It's already recording. So what we'll do is parang nagko-conversation na tayo, parang nag-uusap lang tayo.
Yeah.
Okay? Para mag-uusap.
Informal, yes.
It's not gonna be a question and answer thing. So it's just gonna
Sure.
be like old friends talking.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So my first question is, kumusta ka na?
I mean, it's been busy, but I just came back from the Philippines.
Oh, same
Yeah,
here. I just
I
got back
actually.
first week of March. I've been here for what, 3 weeks now. Pero
Oh,
March 4 yata ako dumating.
pareho
So
tayo.
I was in Cebu. I was from November, December, January, February, March. Well,
Oh,
until first week of March. So ang tagal
wow.
ko dun. How long were you
Yes,
there?
I was there. I was there lang the month of February.
Month of
So we were
February.
on opposite ends of the island.
Yeah. So anong ginawa mo dun? Was it for a business, for your for the foundation, or
Well,
personal?
yeah, well, both. It was personal, and while I was there, I also wore the hat of the foundation.
Okay.
Uh, we were able to deliver, a donation to a medical network partner,
Okay.
a PhD. Uh, the What is this? It's a health program in the city of Manila.
Okay.
So we were there, handed over a couple of yung dolls for training, cardiac arrest.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
and CHD. I'm just blanking on the name of the organization, but they are part of our partners. And then had a chance to visit both personal and part of the foundation, because once back in 2022, I think we had a what's this, an education workshop about the Battle of Bessang Pass.
Okay.
You
That
know,
was in the Philippines. You had it in the Philippines.
yeah,
Uh,
no, well, the it was a Zoom workshop here in
okay.
Seattle,
Oh,
but
okay.
the Bessang Pass is up north,
Okay.
and it was a site. Not everybody know about this Battle of Bessang Pass.
Was it
Um,
between the Americans and the Filipinos, or the Spanish or the Filipinos, or?
no, it was during the Japanese occupation.
Oh, okay.
Yes, when the Japanese occupied the Philippines, the Japanese Imperial Army controlled the northern Luzon,
Mm-hmm.
and they were up in the mountains. About 150,000 of their troops were stationed up in the mountains, because in times of war, if you're at the highest point, you're at the most you're more advantaged
Right. Right.
than the enemy. So they were up in the mountains, and that's the Besang Pass was the pass that protected the eastern side of the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a battle there, because at that time, when the Japanese occupied the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
MacArthur had his famous "I shall
I shall
return."
return thing. Okay.
I will leave for now because the Japanese are there.
Yeah.
So, so the order was in all the since the defeat of Bataan and Corregidor, it
Mm-hmm.
was defeated, right? And then there was the Death March, di ba?
Yeah.
From Bataan to Tarlac.
Yeah.
The order was everyone should surrender.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one colonel, his name is Russell Volkman,
Mm-hmm.
who refused to
Yeah.
surrender, and he escaped the death march and
Yeah.
went in hiding in the mountains of northern Luzon.
Yeah.
And
Actually, there's quite a few soldiers that didn't really surrender, and
right,
they joined. In fact, they made a movie out of it called American Guerrillas in the Philippines. You know, this
Yes, yes,
the
yes.
American who did surrender, who who went up the hills, and joined the guerrilla movements like the Hawks and the
Mhm,
different guerrilla movements back there. But
mhm, mhm.
most of them
Yep,
joined the Filipinos, who were in the guerrilla
yep.
movement.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And Colonel Volkman was ended up being the commander of that whole guerrilla force in northern Luzon.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Under the U.S., of course, it was under the U.S., which
Hmm.
was different from the Hukbalahap because the Hukbalahap was a different group altogether, but they were
Yes.
all against the Japanese occupation.
Yes. I mean, the Hukbalahap is basically Hukbong Bayan Laban sa Hapon. You
Mhm,
know,
tama.
so that's how they, you know,
Yes,
the Hawk
yes.
started. Then they changed it
Mhm.
to Hukbong Bayan uh,
Laban
Army or
sa
something like that. Huh? Just
laban
Hukbong
sa
Bayan.
ano. Yeah, Hukbong Bayan. And that's another history, but the history that we went there for,
Mhm.
binisita namin kasi there's also may personal side yung pagbisita ko doon.
Oh, okay.
Kasi my late father was part of that battle, the Battle of Bessang Pass.
Okay. So your
And
late father was part of the U.S. Army or U.S.
yes, he was actually
There
when
was
the
the
war broke.
Philippine Scout and there's the Philippine Constabulary. The Philippine
No,
Scouts
it's different.
were under the U.S.
Hmm.
military.
Yeah, yeah. The Philippine Scout. There was the Philippine Scouts, and there was the Philippine Constabulary. But my father was part of the Vanguard, the Reserve Officers Training Corps of the University of the Philippines at that
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yeah. So actually, he was with then Ferdinand Marcos.
Mm. So
They
Marcos
were
was, yeah.
there
Well,
was also a vanguard, yes,
yeah. Okay.
but they were assigned in different parts of the Philippines. Marcos, being a lawyer, he was assigned in the
Hmm.
intelligence corps,
Hmm.
and my father was assigned at north.
Yeah.
But they all both of them were part of the death march. They all both of them escaped. Uh,
You're talking about your father was
my
part of
father,
the death
yes,
march.
yes, was also in the death march, but he was
So he
also able to.
surrendered from was he in Corregidor or Bataan when
I
that happened?
believe I believe he was in Bataan, but uh, and then when he was at the death march, he was able to escape. That's all I know about.
Oh,
But what
okay.
I know more about him was that when he escaped, the same thing with this Colonel Volkman, they went into hiding, and because my father is from Abra,
Okay.
you
So
know.
when he escaped, he was with Colonel Buckman then. They were together or if
No, no,
it's
they did not see each other until after the guerrilla forces were began to organize itself as a unit,
okay.
an infantry, because Volkman was going all over the place, recruiting, men to fight as guerrilla forces.
Okay.
Uh, and my father, being in that part of the country, was able to join in,
Okay.
and that was when Yamashita was in the mountains. He was ready to escape to go back to Japan
Oh,
because
okay.
he had all these treasures
Yeah.
that he
Yamashita's gold.
stole. He
Yeah.
stole in other countries and then stashed it in the Philippines, and then they were headed back to Japan.
Uh,
And the route to go to Japan was through the mountains, through the mountains of Ilocos to Isabela, and then to the Cagayan Valley, and then get about somewhere in, I think, Cagayan or Quezon, and then they were heading off to Japan.
mhm.
Uh,
Do you know that until now in the Philippines there are still hunters for Yamashita's treasure all
Absolutely.
over the Philippines, not only in the north, also in Mindanao, in the Visayas.
Mhm.
Always all of them has this theory, that they know where it is, and it's still ongoing. It's kind of weird, everybody's
Yeah, yeah,
But go
because
ahead
there
with
were
your
a lot.
story. That's an amazing
Mhm.
story. Can
Yeah.
you tell us your father's name? Because this is, I really love this story. What's your father's name?
My father's name is Conrado B, as in Balauro Rigor.
B. Rigor.
Yes,
Okay,
Colonel.
continue.
At that time, he was a Major
Okay,
Conrado B. Rigor. But eventually, when he retired at the young age of 45, if I may say so, he was retired, asked to retire at the age of 45. He
okay.
was a full colonel
Oh,
when
wow.
he retired in 59. But so the story was, the Americans and the Filipinos, especially the indigenous people of the mountains,
Yeah.
consolidated their forces
Mhm.
and began the assault on Besang Pass.
Okay.
Because Besang Pass was the window to catch Yamashita, who was heading towards the mountain to go to with the treasures, right?
Can you
And
spell Besan Pass?
Bessang Pass is Bessang. Bessang.
Besan Pass.
Yeah.
Okay. And this
And
pass is actually in the mountain
that's
province, right? That's why.
no, that's in Ilocos Sur. It's in the province of Ilocos Sur. But
No
if you
province.
go east of Ilocos Sur, then you go up the mountains of Bessang.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. The
And continue.
Cordilleras, yeah.
Okay.
And it's right by the Tirad Pass,
Yeah, I heard
the
about Tirad
Gregory.
Pass. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the high peaks of Ilocos, and that's
Okay.
where the Japanese were. And Besang was the sort of like the fortress, the gateway to the east to Isabela.
Okay.
And the Japanese Imperial Army, which was the elite
Hmm.
force of the Japanese, were guarding Besang Pass. It was the elite forces called the Tora Division,
Okay.
and it was to defend that. And it was the guerrillas who actually were able to defeat. They were able to defeat this Besang Pass. They
Wow.
were victorious. It was
So this was before the Americans came in. There was already a battle between the Filipinos and the Japanese without the Americans' help.
yes, and
Wow.
it was Russell Volkman who said it started calling Australia and said, "We're making headway here. We need supplies. We need support." And that's when the support of MacArthur started arriving in northern Luzon. And that's when the assault on Besang Pass happened. But on the front line of that assault were native Filipinos.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was in the book of Russell Volkman when he said, there has never been such show of courage and valor among these young men.
How come this is not in our history? How come nobody? I mean, we all heard about Tirad Pass, but we never heard of Battle of Besang Pass. I
That
mean,
is
for
the
me, this is the
question.
first time I heard it.
Isn't
So
that the question? Right. But it's not as if it wasn't journalized. It was in a book. And it
okay,
is confirmed by a professor from the University of the Philippines. His name is Professor Rico Jose,
okay,
and he is the uh, the lead research academic on the history of the war. In fact, when we went to see him last February, he shared with us that the next book that he was going to write about is about the Battle of Besang
Battle of
Pass.
Besang Pass. I
Yes,
think he should write. And in fact, especially that your father was involved in that battle. Um, I think I don't know if the foundation's open to it. Maybe they can put like a memorial there. To
well, there's Mario. There's already a monument there
okay
at the top.
at the top.
But
Okay,
yeah, it was a monument that was built in 1954, 10
okay,
years after the battle. What was
okay,
significant in our visit, Mario, which was a surprise to us, was when we got there. There's a town that's below Besampas, the town of Suyo.
okay.
So during the war, Suyo was the first mountain town before going higher up into Besang.
Okay.
But there was also a battle in Suyo. And the battle in Suyo was won in February 5. When we went there, we were introduced to the mayor's office.
Okay.
And then what they shared with us was this, which was rather really surprising. They said, Manong, they said, we have been hearing all these years about the history of the war.
Mm.
And all these years, it was always about the surrender of Bataan and Corregidor,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing about the victory of our people.
Yeah.
So we started to celebrate here in Suyo
Mm-hmm.
every February 5 the
Uh,
victory
the
in
victory.
Suyo. Yes,
Mhm.
but there has yet to be one in Besang Pass, which is much more glorious than the Battle of Suyo.
Yes.
So when we got to Besang Pass, they wanted to
When you say
begin.
we, who's with your party?
Yes, it was with me and some history teacher and principal from a town in Ilocos Sur.
Okay.
He
Okay.
was the one who guided us up
Okay. So
to.
that was a planned trip then, to.
Yes, oh yes, it was.
Okay. Okay.
It was a trip that was hosted by this principal
Okay.
from
It
from
wasn't
Santa.
like a sport of the moment. Oh, we decided we just go there, but it was a plan that you
Yes, it
really
was
wanna. Especially you did
yeah,
what do you call it?
history.
The Zoom meeting about it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
In fact, the my meeting that principal was also unplanned and just a
Mm.
chance meeting that he was actually from there, and I shared with him that I wanted to pay a visit because of
Mm.
just for sentimental reason. But then he told me that he knows about the Battle of Besang Pass, and I said, "Oh my gosh, isn't that amazing? Then
Yeah.
you can take me there."
Okay.
And then of course, I was surprised when he told me that he asked me if I was related to the late Colonel Rigor. You can imagine my wow. Yeah, and he said, "Oh my gosh," he goes, "It would be an honor to take you to that battle." So we got to Besang, and you know, Mario, if you went up to that mountain,
Hmm.
I if I only hear about Besang, sure, I heard about the battle. But if you see and go up that mountain,
Yeah.
my goodness, you can imagine the terrain, the magnificent height of the mountain.
Uh-huh.
When you go up to the top, you can actually see the whole coast of Ilocos Sur.
Wow.
It was that high and it was
Mm.
that treacherous. It was very treacherous. It was very high. So you can imagine, I was just imagining the kind
Yeah.
of battle it was.
Yeah.
Even the Americans were astounded by the sheer courage and persistence of the guerrilla forces that led that assault.
Hmm.
And imagine this, according to Rico Jose,
Hmm.
those that made up that front line were made up of young Igorots, teenagers, Mario.
Wow. Well,
That was from that was
yeah.
from the professor,
Yeah,
That was
but
from
that's their home turf. That's their mountain. They probably know
yes.
the way around and they know, it's
Oh,
like.
and imagine that they were outnumbered, number one.
Mhm.
Number two, they did not have the armaments.
Yes.
And number three, they were up against an elite Japanese army.
Yeah.
And to think that they actually battled their way through and won.
Wow.
That was what was written by Volkman when he wrote the book.
Mhm.
Ito Panama kay Panama kay I Shall Return ni MacArthur.
Okay.
Gumawa siya ng libro, ang title, alam mo kung anong title?
Ano ang title?
We Remained.
We Remain. That's from Russell Brockman.
Yes, yes, naiwan kami. Kayo umalis.
Yeah. So
Kami
that's
ang lumaban.
yeah. We
And
didn't
you can
run.
so
We stayed and fought.
yes. And now you can imagine why such a battle, journalized by Volkman,
Mhm.
why such a battle was kept silent all these years.
Yes.
I
Do you have an
yeah,
answer
I
for
think
that?
I have my own, my own
Yeah. Can you share
I
it with
have my
us?
own way of uh, what is this? Analyzing it,
Yeah.
coming up with my own.
Your theory.
Siguro
Your
ganito yun.
yeah.
We can only speculate, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is, it has been kept silent.
Hmm.
In all these years, it has always been the loss of Batan and Corregidor, and I shall return.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what does that picture show you? That
That.
we lost,
Hmm.
and then MacArthur arrived, and then we were liberated.
Yeah. It's like they're the good guys and we're nothing. We're like wala mga
Mario,
future.
I didn't say that. You're the one saying that.
Pero it sounds like it, that we owe so much to the Americans. In fact, we could actually win that battle. I mean, they did. They won it. So
And that is why when I heard it from the folks of Besang, they said, we would like to celebrate our victory.
yes.
And we would like to start a campaign
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to make this a national holiday.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow! Sabi ko, pucha, bigat niyan.
Yeah. And if you think about it, the little battles like the Battle of Tirad Pass, we lost. You know, the other battles like against the Spaniards that everybody put in the nilalagay nila sa history books, natalo tayo.
Puro
This
talo.
one, this one we won.
Yeah, puro talo.
Puro
Yes,
talo
puro
ang
talo.
pinapakita. Ito,
Yes.
nanalo tayo.
Ito, upset.
Yeah, yeah,
Kumbaga sa kumbaga sa kwan yung underdog nanalo.
yes.
And they called that battle, they called it the Battle of the Clouds.
The Battle of the
Kasi,
Clouds.
yes,
Okay.
Battle of the Clouds. Kasi, kaya pala Battle of the Clouds, kasi pag nasa ibaba ka ng mundo, when you're the
Up in the
bottom of the
clouds, yeah.
mountain, when you look up at the tip, at the top of the mountain, which is the pass, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot see it in the daytime
Mm-hmm.
because of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot see anything because the sun is beating on you and you cannot see it. The only time you can see the outline of the mountain is when it's cloudy.
Okay.
Hindi ka masisilawan,
Mm-hmm.
So when it was cloudy, that's when they would make the assault. And that was why pala it was called the Battle of the Clouds.
Man.
Oh, di ba? Di ba? Hindi ba? Ang ganda ng kwento, di ba? I mean,
Yeah. It's
sabi ko,
amazing that
wow.
I never heard of this story before.
No, no,
So
of course, I heard of it, but I didn't know the huge significance of it.
uh-huh.
That's how I went to visit it. Pero
Mhm.
yung pagbisita ko, it just so happens na yung mga tao nagkwento sa akin,
Yeah. And then
and
especially your father was involved in that, so and not
yeah,
only that, that was probably the start, the turning point na bumaliktad na,
yes,
because
because
the Japanese were
once
winning.
yes, once Bessang Pass was captured, then hinabol na nila si Yamashita.
Yeah. So tayo na.
Doon na pinagtatapon ni Yamashita yung mga dala-dala nilang mabibigat na mga ginto.
Ginto.
Oo, tapos tinabi nila para makatakas. Nahabol nila. He
Mm-hmm.
was not able to escape and he was captured.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the end, the surrender of Yamashita.
Wow.
And in the whole thing about the surrender of Yamashita was played up, of course.
Oh, of
But
course.
and there's a tragedy behind the guerrillas, the tragic role of the guerrillas, because in spite of what they have done, what Volkman said, the guerrilla forces in northern Luzon will now be part of the US Army.
Mm.
because of what you have done, you have proven your capability as a fighting force. So after the war, nung nag-surrender ng Japan, dineclare nila na itong Northern Luzon
Mhm.
will be part of the US Army.
Yeah,
Ibig sabihin nun, after the war, they get,
all the benefits. Yeah,
yes.
pero remember the Congress had that rescission act, where they rescinded the promises.
You
So
know your history.
oh yeah, because I love history. I do a lot of history stuff. So
Yes.
and the reason why
And
they rescinded because they don't want to have all these Filipinos come over, from the Philippines.
because after the war, all kinds of claims came in,
Yeah.
whether it was mostly false claims.
Mm-hmm.
And America just said, "Shh, this has to stop."
Yeah.
So they made the law. Tapos na, wala na. Masyadong
Yeah. They
maraming
rescinded.
dumadating na hindi namin alam kung totoo o hindi.
Mm-hmm.
And so, kawawa yung mga tunay na
Tunay.
lumaban.
Yeah. And then they, because of the Filipino community organizing here in the US to bring in the veterans, to bring them back. Finally, they were able to do that, pero matatanda na. They were like, they're in their 80s,
Too late,
90s, and they were
too
dying
late,
left and right.
too late, too little
Yeah.
is what I would say.
And not
I
only
mean,
were they able to come here, hindi pa binigay yung pera that was, promised to them. They were just given a little bit.
even if they were given the money, Mario, I mean, I understand it was like $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, barya, di ba?
Yeah.
Tapos hindi naman sila pinayagan dalhin yung mga pamilya dito eh. It
Yeah.
was, it was a token.
Yeah.
Para lang matahimik na,
Matahimik
tapos
ang
na,
Filipino
oh,
community.
may medal ng Kongreso, o ito na medal nyo. Pero hindi naman medal ng yun eh, ng army.
Yeah.
Medal ng civilian yun.
Yeah. That's true.
They were still not, it was, that is, yun na nga yung tragedy.
Yeah.
In spite of their valor and courage. You know what? In that book ni
Mm.
Volkman, sabi ni Volkman doon, kung hindi dito sa mga guerrillas na to, ang mga namatay sigurong Amerikano 3 times.
Yeah, I
As in
believe it. I believe it.
But because of this, victory, we were able to, capture it with less casualty.
Mm-hmm.
Malaki utang na loob nila. Yung mga lumaban doon na Amerikano,
Yeah.
alam nila. Malaki
Mhm.
utang na loob nila sa mga ating
Yeah.
mga lumaban.
Mhm.
Pero of course, eventually, as they say, that's history. Pero you see the yung ika nga yung the bittersweet,
Mhm.
story behind the Bessang Pass, saga where, underdog sila, pare.
Yeah.
Underdog. And then yet again, you wonder, why is this story kept silent?
When you were growing up, did your father talk to you about that battle or not really?
No, I was very young. When my
Okay.
father passed away, I was only 6 years old.
Oh, okay.
So I began to learn about this only at the later part.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, we have 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah, we'll finish it and then bigla na lang mapuputol,
Yes,
ha? Pero
yes,
man, I'm glad you brought this up, Roger. I know
yes,
you have some more things to say. This is
yes.
amazing because when I'm gonna put this out so people would know about it. I mean that's will be I'm already thinking about a title. The Battle of Bessang Pass. So
Yeah,
it's
I can introduce you to that principal
okay.
from Tagud. Yeah, I will introduce you to that principal of Tagudin. I will give him your email
Yes,
and connection, and then he
I could
can
ask him if he's willing to
yeah,
interview, so I can talk to
and
him. I
yeah,
can
talk
interview
to,
him.
yes, talk to the people there, and this principal, who is also a history teacher, by the
Oh,
way,
okay.
yeah, can share with you what the people
Okay,
there.
either text that to me or email me the information. And if you got his email address, I'm gonna
You're
I'm
connect.
gonna use your name, okay? So I talk to Roger, if it's okay,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna
yeah.
ask
Well,
to interview him.
I'll as soon as we're done here, I'll connect you both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It's one of those stories. It's one of those stories
Yeah, there's
that.
so many things I just learned. Like on YouTube, nalaman ko the Battle of Yultong in South Korea
Mhm.
about Filipino soldiers kasi maraming Filipinos who went to Korea eh. Yung
Yes,
gera, yung the Korean War.
yes,
And
yes.
they really had a big battle over there against, there were only
Mhm.
about 4,000 Filipino soldiers against about
Yes,
20,000 Chinese, and
right.
they showed it in YouTube, and I was amazed.
Yeah,
And I didn't even know
yeah,
about that, so
yeah.
this is another thing, so I'm gonna start talking about
Yes,
this,
yes, yes,
you know,
yes. And it's something to yes, to be
because
proud
that's
of.
our pride,
Yeah,
I mean, we talk about Filipino pride, right there is one of the big
absolutely.
ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. As they go forward to prepare to celebrate this, you will definitely be. I
Hmm.
will update you about and of course, you can talk to the that principal historian. You can actually talk to him, and just whatever comes out of it.
Yes. Did he ever write a book, or he
No,
just?
no, no. He's just a teacher in
Okay.
Tagudin. He's just
Oh,
a teacher,
wow.
pero he runs a school. He's a principal.
Oh, okay.
The town of Santa Catalina.
Santa Catalina.
Yes, the
Yeah,
town of Santa
Ilocos.
Catalina. He is a principal of that school,
Okay.
and he's a historian. His name is Philibert, and that's spelled Filibert. Philibert. That's his first name.
Wow.
Filibert.
Mhm.
Filiburt. Tapos his last name is, take this, My Between.
My between MAY
May, and then between
between.
Bituin. There's a star.
Wow.
Isn't that
Merong
amazing?
merong my between.
My Between is his last name. Yes, and
Pretty
I
cool.
will I will hook you up together soon after
Okay.
this, and
Okay.
you can hook up with him, and you can
I
talk.
I want to interview him,
Yes,
about that battle,
absolutely.
and then so I could let people know more, so
Yes,
the word will be out about that.
yes, and it's something to be proud of because the people of that part of our country, the people of Ilocos Sur, especially in the mountains, from the
Uh-huh.
mountains, they will not forget the stories of their elders
Yes.
about how they won the war, and yet nobody took notice.
Yes.
Parang kinalimutan na lang.
Yes.
Except of course yung memorial doon, nandun yung memorial, but the memorial doesn't even have a museum.
Yeah. It's just probably some kind of, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
needs to, not like if you go to Bataan, they have such a big
Oh gosh, yes. Oh
memorial there.
yes. Oh yes. You
Yeah.
cannot imagine the contrast of
Mhm.
Bataan and Corregidor to what is being remembered in Besang.
Yes.
It's like day and night, you know.
Yes.
So
And if, even in Tirad Pass, they got a bigger memorial over there. I
wala na.
mean,
Yeah.
and
So yeah.
yeah, that
So in
works.
in this last 5 minutes, again, Mario, I would like to just say thank you again for this opportunity. Um, Anytime, anytime that we can actually express what we
Yes.
have been doing with the foundation, you will
Mhm.
definitely be updated.
Thank you very much for letting me know about this story, and also your help in the foundation. And also, eventually, I want to talk to you, about how I can help, because I'm going
Yes,
back to the Philippines. Hopefully, I
yes.
can represent the foundation in some way, like as a
Oh,
volunteer,
yes, yes. You
something
can
like that.
be, yeah, you can actually be part of our volunteer force,
Okay.
and be,
I could
able.
represent Camotes Island over there because there's, it's a fishing industry
Absolutely.
and agriculture
Kailan ang uwi
industry.
mo? When are you planning?
September.
Ah, okay,
September.
okay. We have time.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have
So
time.
give me
Mhm.
some how I can do it, how to start, helping out,
Yes,
because what
yes.
you're doing is really amazing. I'm so
Well,
happy that you get
there,
involved in this.
yes. In July, we're actually preparing. We're preparing for this ride for the Philippines. The bike ride.
Yeah.
that's going to happen this July.
Wow.
Uh, so I will give you updates on that, but I think yeah, there will be enough time for us to share more about our
Mm.
fundraising programs to
Mhm.
raise funds for our folks back home.
Yes.
Hmm.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
we just continue until it ends. It's gonna stop automatically.
yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah.
so are you
Oh,
still doing interpreting jobs here and
oh
there?
yeah, oh yeah. Every now and then, yes. I've been doing every now and then do interpreting, if I can, and then of course there's a lot of certification and requirements now. But what's I brought this up to the administrative office of the courts
Mm-hmm.
that they should provide training for our next batch of interpreters because there's no one after us.
Exactly.
None of the young are
Exactly.
doing, and
Yeah.
that's very disturbing because after us, who's going to follow?
Yeah.
You,
I
you
mean,
know,
there's hardly any certified Filipino interpreters because they made the bar so high, and not only that, I really think the because we have to go through what do you call this, mga Filipino rin
right?
interpreters who's doing
Yes,
the reviewing, and
yes,
in fact, I feel that I can speak better than those guys who's doing the reviewing.
that's
Pero they
right.
want to keep the numbers low so they could get all the job. There was like a conflict there.
Right. There is, and there's an issue to that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we're going to actually pursue in time because sometimes it's not about English to Tagalog.
Yeah.
It has to be Tagalog to English. They have to be good in the English because it's the English side that makes the decision, not
Hmm.
the Tagalog side.
Yes.
So
Yes.
some interpreters don't have very very narrow English, command.
Yes. So that was a
So
big problem. I mean, there's ang dami ng Filipino konti lang ang, the number doesn't jive with
no,
the population.
no, no, not at all,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
okay, so Mario, again, if you have a minute left, and I suppose when you go back to Cebu,
If
there will be a time to actually connect with you when you're there.
Yes, September I'll be going back, and at the same time I want to connect with you because so
Yeah,
I could be a
yeah,
part of the foundation to help
yes,
out, to our
yes,
common, yung
yeah,
mga di kailangan, whatever the
yeah.
foundation can help,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can do it.
because the folks that we help are out in the Bicol region because that's where the typhoons are at its high, at its
Yes,
strongest, and that they're
yes. The
always
Bicol region,
mm,
Samar, because
yes,
that's the what they
Samar
call
and
it,
Leyte,
the
yes,
Pacific.
yun na nga, yun na nga. So
Yeah.
okay, 20 seconds remaining. I just
Okay.
don't want to cut it off, and pero again, salamat ulit, Mario.
Oh, thank you,
Until
Roger.
and
I can't wait to put this on because of the story that you told us.
yes, it will
Amazing.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Take
Sige.
care, man.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Take care.
Bye.